honey is a pure source of sugar. It digests directly into the human bloodstream. It's one of the few foods that does, and it's been traded around the world since antiquity. It was one of the main commodities along the Silk Road, and the great empires in Africa, the Middle East, and Egypt used to trade honey as a source of currency. Even to this day, it's a billion-dollar market when you consider not only the commercial beekeepers, but all those industrious hobbyists who create the delicious artisanal brands as well. Now, there's few people around the world who understand this culinary connection and the nuance, the celebrating the artistry of honey more than my next guest. She is the creator and owner of Single Origin Honeys under the Red Bee brand. She has a best-selling book out with a big fan of the Insect News Network and a friend, Kim Flodham, who is the editor of Bee Culture magazine. Their new book is called The Honey Connoisseur, and it's a follow-up to her best-selling memoir, Honeybee Lessons from an Accidental Beekeeper. Marina is the founder of the American Honey Tasting Society, and she's been featured on in many different media outlets, such as the Food Network, the Four Seasons Restaurant in New York, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and the Saturday Evening Post. She even made it onto Martha Stewart Radio for her honeybee knowledge, and she was on the first Bee-a-Thon back in 2011, so I wanted to welcome back to the bat Marina Marchese. Hi, Marina.
Hi, Emmet. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. We would not miss it. I can't imagine talking with honey about anybody else from the culinary aspect and the artistry with anybody besides you. So let's talk first about this book that you have, this fantastic collaboration with Kim Flodham, The Honey Connoisseur.
Well, essentially, we are taking like 30 of the main, most important honey plants in the United States and really just talking about the honey that's produced from them, and we really explore all of the regions that they grow and the flavor profiles of the honey. So we're really taking honey to a high art by just, explaining about, all the honey and the flavors that's never really been done before.
It sounds like what you're doing is you're taking an approach that the great winemakers or cheesemakers put into their artisanal product. Is it similar for the honey and what you put in the book?
Yeah, exactly. Honey, has been neglected for so many years, and just, people think of it as just this sweet liquid, but really honey is much more than that.
Absolutely.
It's, has depth of flavor. It's not just sweet. And when we talk about honey, we talk about all of the plants, we talk about the regions, we talk about the flavor profiles, the seasonality of it, a lot like winemaking. So we're really trying to sort of elevate honey to a higher level.
And you are also running a business at the same time. So you're a very busy woman. I understand you jump-started the artisanal honey process with your very first wholesale client, a very special man.
Well, when I started my first honey harvest, I set myself up at a farmer's market like most beekeepers. And after a few years, I was there, and people started really getting into beekeeping and the green movement and, the whole thought about being organic. So a lot of people started paying attention at the farmers markets, and somebody approached me and asked me about some of my honey if I would sell it wholesale. So, it was all new to me. I was just, selling my honey harvest. But it turned out that customer that wanted wholesale honey was Julian Nicolini of the Four Seasons Restaurant in New York City. So that sort of got me rolling in growing my business into a wholesale.
Ah, very nice way to get started with a business, with a client like the Four Seasons Hotel. But you actually bring a perspective that is really important for cultural entomology. You are an illustrator by trade and an exceptional marketer. So tell me why you're giving this industry a facelift.
Well, my background is art. I went to art school in New York City. I studied at School of Visual Arts. I was an illustrator, and I've always worked with products, and I was always interested in product design. And, when I started beekeeping, it was really just for a weekend hobby. I had no idea that, it was going to open up into this big world of bees and learning and pollination, and no intention of really starting a honey business. But when I saw that it took 2 years to get that first honey harvest, I really started, looking at honey in a real different way and I saw an opportunity to combine my art and my graphic design background into bringing honey into, a luxury product, which it really deserves. So I feel like, my background kind of is meeting beekeeping, art and bees and honey for me.
Perfect, yeah. It's all about art-science fusion. This is the third culture that's emerging not only with our digital world, but also we're reinventing the industry of beekeeping because the pollinators are going such a crisis. And you also have mentioned that the branding is improving quite a bit. The game is heating up for people who are buying honey because people buy with their eyeballs. So with honey, what is the most important factor of the image you're trying to convey?
Well, for me personally, I had to seek out a really beautiful bottle, and we have our signature corked bottle. It's like a apothecary style bottle. Nice. And of course I designed all my labeling, but now you're starting to really see a lot of beekeepers who are creatives really spending the time and designing beautiful packaging and beautiful labels for their honey, and it so deserves it.
Absolutely.
And customers initially buy with their eyes, so if the product looks very attractive, they will be intrigued to maybe purchase it, or at least, ask questions about it. So it's nice that we're starting to see people, pay attention to packaging and making honey
Very
worthy,
important.
that it deserves.
Yeah. It is an ancient art form. It's the original elixir of the gods, and they've written about it for generations all around the world. It sounds like it's coming to America, this understanding. There's a beautiful expression on the chalkboard behind you. Maybe you can translate that Italian expression for us.
Well, this is from a video that I saw in Italy. It says, "Il miele il sapore della tierra," and it means honey is a taste of the earth. And that's delicious. Probably the best definition of what the honey connoisseur is. It really, we're trying to let people know that honey is not always a medium amber liquid that's sweet. It really tastes like the earth. It tastes like the flower. It tastes like where that flower's growing. And you can travel all over the United States. You can travel all over the world, and you can experience honey in its purest form in all of these regions, and it will look, smell, and taste completely different, just like fine wine. And it's beautiful. It's just a concept that I think has been missed for so many years, but now we're going to recapture it and get people interested.
I agree.
In honey as a food with so much depth.
And you're heading to Italy to meet with a very special group of beekeepers and honey people that you're going to connect with in honey in Italy?
I'm going back to a honey festival. There's honey festivals all over Europe, and Italy especially. They're very fond of their honey harvest, and because it happens usually the same time as the olive oil and the wine harvest. So I'm going back again to another honey harvest, honey festival. But also I was invited to sit in on a honey tasting course. So I'm going to be sitting in for 4 days with other beekeepers and honey food enthusiasts and learning how to appropriately taste and assess honey all over from Italy. So I'm really excited about that.
Sounds like a delicious affair for certain. And of course, you're doing it in Italy. You couldn't find a better place to explore the culinary aspects of honey. Again, the book is The Honey Connoisseur. And we have another interview of Kim Flodham. It's going to tell us a little bit more about the plants featured in the book and how they pair with the honeys. So Marina Marchese, how can people find you through Red Bee Honey?
Well, you can visit our website, which is redbeehoney.com, redbee.com, or you can find me on Twitter, which is @redbeemarina. We're also on Facebook. I've got a couple pages there for the Honey Connoisseur and the Honey Lessons of an Accidental Beekeeper. So social media, you won't have any problem finding me.
Great. Is there any other little message you want to leave with our listeners for the Bee-a-Thon this year?
Well, I think everybody who's a beekeeper and harvesting their wonderful honey really, getting people excited about your product is really what we're doing is just getting people excited about honey gets them excited about bees.
Sure.
And it opens up the conversation of pollination and why
Very
these
much
little
so, yeah.
creatures are so important to us. So getting people to taste your honey is a backdoor kind of way to open up the conversation to, you know, stinging insects that most people would not want to talk about. But it's really the sweet side of it. So, you know, we're just trying to get people aware and educated on bees and honey, and it's a lot of fun.
Terrific. Well, listen, Marina, thank you for joining us once again with the Bee-a-Thon. Sounds like maybe in the future you'd think about being a correspondent for the Insect News Network, a special honey correspondent. What do you think about that?
Well, I would love that. We can travel together and taste honey
Beautiful.
in different regions, meet the beekeepers, and talk about cooking and tasting honey.
Beautiful. And you've been doing it for a long time, so we look forward to doing it in the future. Thanks again, Marina Marchese. All right, we're going to be moving right along with the next segment of the Bee-a-Thon. Stay tuned.